Iguodala up for the layup. Oh, blocked by Jordan. Open. Chicago.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of All in the Mix. This is episode 5. I got my guy Tyler here with me like always. And today we have a very special guest, UCR's finest, Dom Pickett. Welcome to the show, my man. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Appreciate y'all for having me on.
Good. So let's just get right into it right off the bat. First off, congratulations on your career high 6 threes, 22 points, and the W, which is what matters most, against UCI Friday night. I know last night was a little tough. I caught the first half. I didn't catch the second half, but I saw how that ended up. But you guys are still doing all right. So a little bit about you. You're from Moreno Valley, California, correct?
Yeah.
MoVal, standout at Rancho Verde High School, all CIF, teammates with our previous guest and UT Martin's Ajani Kennedy. We'll actually get to him when we talk about college hoops because he had a pretty big play last week. So you graduated 2016. What made you decide to attend UCR as a student first?
I think the biggest thing that went into it was the academics. Growing up, my mom was always big on how academics and a plan after basketball. If basketball didn't work out, injuries occur, like whatever the case may be, always set yourself up for the future. And I think that was the biggest thing. I even instill myself and others coming up today is like always have a backup plan, always have a plan B, because you never know what can happen, especially with COVID this year. A lot of things changed very quickly and a lot of people were not prepared. So I think it's really woke a lot of people up to really get into different avenues and things like that. So I think that's a big thing that played into my decision to go to UCR before even basketball.
That's awesome. So your freshman year, you started off as the team manager for the first half of the year. What made you want to do that first?
It was more so, I would say, coming into my freshman year, I always had the vision of playing Division I basketball. I always had confidence in myself, my ability, my work. A lot of my teammates in high school, like you mentioned, Ajani, some of my other teammates, people I grew up with, they were all Division I athletes. And I felt like I always held my own against them and things like that. So I always felt confident. But coming in, they didn't have enough spots open on the team.
Okay.
So I talked to the coach, kind of told him my intentions moving forward. And he had seen me play a couple high school games before, so he knew what I was about, things like that. But he said, like, my best bet would be to actually just do the team manager thing my first year, just to get accustomed with the program, how things are ran, things like that. And I honestly think that was probably the best thing that could happen to me in my whole UCR career, was to just humble me, show me how things work, things of that nature.
So in that first year as a manager, you got to join the team as an actual walk-on halfway through the season. How did that happen? So walk us through that a little bit. Were you practicing or working out with the team the whole year, or did something happen that came up and they were like, okay, shit, we need somebody. Dom, come with us. How did that happen?
So in the beginning of the year, I just did regular manager duties, which for those of you that don't know, is just pretty much having practice set up, making sure everything's in place, film, doing kind of everything the intangibles to it. And then like middle of the year, I think it was like around middle of conference, we had some people ineligible, had some people leave the team, things of that nature. And it was a pretty rough year, cannot lie. So coach came to me and wanted me to join a couple of the practices, had seen me working on my game throughout the year and things of that nature. So he just wanted me in the practices again, didn't want to necessarily burn my year by trying to put me in the game more than halfway through the season.
Right.
So I just hopped in a few practices from that point on. And I held my own, as I honestly expected. I held my own. And he was very impressed. Actually, towards the end of the year, wanting to actually throw me in the game. But I had to talk with my family, talk to a couple of my previous coaches, and they just told me to just play the patient game and just wait it out to the following year. And that's what I did.
That's smart. Yeah.
So just to clarify for the people that don't know, if you would have even hopped in one game, that would have burned an entire year of eligibility, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow. So you saw your first action November 10th, 2017 against Cal Berkeley at Cal Berkeley. Walk us through that day for you. How did it feel to actually suit up and see some action for the first time in your first Division I game at Cal, of all places?
Cal, yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it was actually like surreal, like just being there, going through pregame walkthrough, pregame practices, things of that nature. It was honestly crazy, but I think one thing that could kind of like settle me in was at the time my cousin Kiana Smith, she now plays at Louisville, women's basketball. At the time, she was playing for Cal Berkeley, so her and my aunt, her mom, were at the game. So it's kind of like made me feel a little bit more comfortable out there, and I ended up hitting a couple of big shots down the stretch to help us secure that dub. So it was actually a good experience.
That's awesome.
So that year, your first year actually playing, you started 5 games that season. Were those because you were just busting your ass and you felt like that you earned that position, or did something happen and the coach was like, "Hey Dom, you know what? You're starting tonight. Go ahead."
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both. In the beginning, being that I'm a new freshman, things of that nature, coach obviously has like their preset kind of lineup and things of that nature. But I just continue to just prove myself day in and day out. Just understanding my position that I was in, just being grateful for every moment. And I was able to actually beat out a couple guys, get the opportunity to start. So I was very thankful for that. And then throughout the year, had a couple freshman mistakes, freshman bumps, things of that nature, but never got discouraged. Just stayed down and kept grinding.
Awesome, man.
Man, what an incredible path. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And it gets better. So your second year, 2018-2019 season, you started pretty much every game, almost every game, 22 out of 30. How walk us through your second year and your mindset. You know, you said you had your freshman mistakes, you had your freshman bumps. What did you learn going from year 1 to year 2?
I think the biggest thing was confidence for me. Just understanding that I belonged here, understanding that I could compete at this level, and just understanding that the work is gonna show us up at the end. So I think just watching a lot of film, learning from my mistakes in the previous year, helped just bump my confidence up, and then just continue to grow from that point on.
Awesome. So your third year, junior year, last year was a little strange for everybody, obviously. You guys, you started every game. Obviously, you became one of those guys that, that people talk about, oh, well, the coach has their guys that start. You were him, right? So you started every game. March 7th was your guys' last game, I believe, and COVID cut your season short. How did that affect you and the rest of your team? What was going through your head? Did you have any, thoughts of, well, maybe we won't have maybe we won't be able to play again, or what was going through your head during that period, and still now, even with COVID going on?
Yeah, last year was probably the strangest moment of my life. Just because we were literally in the hotel getting ready to leave for the game. Mm-hmm. Literally, we were about to leave in the next hour. Just got done watching film. We checked our phones, started hearing all the news about tournaments being shut down, things of that nature. So then it kind of started becoming a little bit more reality, okay, this is for real. And I think the biggest thing that hurt a lot of us was not only for my seniors, Dikembe Martin, Kai Cabellis, some of those guys, but I think the biggest thing was just I think the biggest thing is just we knew that we had a shot to win it all. We were probably one of the hottest teams in the Big West coming into the tournament.
Absolutely.
Won our last 5 in a row. We're fully aware of what we needed to do. Could have put out a game against Irvine late in the year, up 7 with a couple of minutes. Just had a couple mistakes that ended up losing us the game, but we knew that we were just a couple possessions away from knocking off the number 1 team. So our confidence was really high going into the tournament. So I think that was the biggest thing, is just not being able to get that opportunity to showcase kind of towards the end of the year.
Absolutely. So fast forward a little bit, getting to the summer. Obviously workouts and team meetings are kind of weird. You're doing a lot of things on Zoom, not really seeing your coaches, not really seeing your teammates. So you guys were having weekly Zoom meetings, right? Just to get together to make sure everybody's on the same page. July 23rd, your head coach, Mike Magpio, if I'm saying that correctly, hosted your guys' weekly team meeting. They started off with words to describe you as a player. You're a leader. You compete. You're vocal, accountable, consistent. And I believe you said you were unselfish. And then your coach had another couple words for you, and they typed those words out, and it said full scholarship. It was obviously an emotional moment for you and obviously for your family and whatnot. Describe that moment and everything that went through your head in that moment. And another question, did you know this was going to happen?
Nah, I had no clue it was going to happen. I was honestly surprised, but grateful as always. I think it just goes to show like everything comes full circle. One of my previous coaches, I think my sophomore year, Coach Bell, now coaches up in the Orange County High School League up there. He always told me good things happen to good people. So I always just kind of stuck that with me. Just stayed down and worked, understood that nothing is really given to you or guaranteed. You got to work for it. And that's something that I've been brought up in my whole life. So just understanding, just staying down, working. And it eventually paid off in the way that I was awarded a full scholarship. I know a lot of people might have thought I deserved it previous years, but I never really focused on any of that. Yeah, so I never really focused on that. Kind of just understood that it's a blessing for me to be in this position. A lot of people would kill to be in this position, so just taking advantage of it day in and day out, and eventually came full circle. And now I get to be here leading this group of guys this year.
That's awesome, man. So you had mentioned a little bit earlier when we had first started the show that you wanted to talk about, the plans after basketball. And some people don't have, that plan because for a lot of people, it's always basketball. And then when it's over, and then when it's over, you're looking around like, now what? So talk to us a little bit about your plan for, obviously this is your senior year. So talk about, what your next couple of years look like and what you have planned as far as maybe graduate school, or if you have a basketball plan lined up, or even something that has nothing to do with either one. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so right now I'm in my first year of my master's program, my MBA, which for those of you that don't know is Master's in Business Administration. It's always just something that's kind of really intrigued me, especially on the sports side, kind of things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't really take into account or see. I find that really interesting. So I think just the biggest thing that I want kind of people to take notice of is like you said, like a lot of people that just focus on the sport, and maybe not even people that have anything to do with sports, but they just focus on one alleyway. And I think it's always good to kind of have some type of backup plan, have some type of something else that you're passionate about, and really never really put that to the side. Always have that in the back of your head, because eventually it's probably going to come up. And I think we see that with a lot of athletes now, especially, and even rest in peace to Kobe. But Kobe, after basketball, he had something that he was passionate about, and he took it full force. So I think that goes to show that we're not just athletes, right? We always have something else that we could be doing, be passionate about, and always just follow that second dream that you might have.
Absolutely. So one more question I have for you before we hop into everything else. What words of advice or wisdom do you have for kids that were like yourself, that came out of high school and didn't really have scholarships and didn't really know what to do, and if they didn't know that they could be a team manager, like how do you get into things like that, and what advice do you have for people that want to earn a scholarship like yourself?
I would say 3 things. Bet on yourself every time. Surround yourself with the right people that want to see you succeed at all costs. And don't be afraid to make relationships that might be out of your comfort zone. So meet some new people, talk to some new people that you might not want to do in the first place. You might be a little shy. I personally am a shy person, but over the last couple of years, I really gotten out of that shell, really have been able to build a lot of relationships with different types of people. I got a lot of close friends in the business field, so I'm looking forward to getting things in motion with them. Maybe when I'm done with basketball, whatever the case may be. I also have a lot of ex-teammates and things like that overseas, so if that's something that I want to do, so just building these relationships is going to really open up a lot more avenues for a lot of us as we get to that position. So I think that would be the biggest 3 things.
Moving on to college hoops, Tyler, what do you got for us, man?
All right, so I got a couple games of the week, and then a pretty cool thing that not everyone knows about. I'll talk about that. couple other things. But all right, so the first game that I got is number 19 Creighton upset number 5 Villanova 86-70. The Blue Jays were led by a great performance by their junior guard Marcus Zagorowski with 25 points. He also added 5 assists and 3 boards as well.
Very tough.
So that's a big deal because number 5 Villanova, they're in the top 5, so they're probably going to drop quite a bit from that. Yesterday, an unranked LSU team beat number 16 Tennessee 78-65.
Tennessee's been dropping some easy games, man.
Oh yeah, I know. They're really starting to fall back.
Yeah.
Kind of how Kansas earlier in the year was. Like they just kept dropping. Yeah. The Tigers were led by their leading scorer Cam Thomas with 25 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. And then a crazy game that happened yesterday was in a double OT thriller. Number 12 Oklahoma beat number 14 West Virginia 91-90, 1 point game. The Sooners were, of course, led by Austin Reeves, as we've talked about before.
Man, killer.
He had 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists. Yeah, so he's just been a stud all year.
Him.
Absolutely.
Lead him, please.
The Mountaineers were led by their forward, Derek Culver, who went off for 29 points and 14 rebounds and a loss. And then not everyone will know this, I don't think. An amazing accomplishment that happened yesterday was Oral Roberts sophomore guard Max Abness scored 42 points in a game against South Dakota State.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's his career high. And
he goes to where?
Oral Roberts University.
Sheesh.
I don't know
Where that is.
That's wild. That's why. I think that just goes to show, like, with COVID,
Everybody
no
can play.
fans. Yeah, like with COVID, no fans. It's just straight basketball, like straight hoop, like
I mean,
you're
we
at
even
the
saw
rim.
it
So like,
in the bubble too.
yeah, exactly. Like anybody could be anybody on any given night, whether you're playing on the road, playing at home. It's all kind of the same. So I think that just goes to show across all those games. You just
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely levels the playing field for sure.
That's crazy. 40 ball.
And other news, not everyone even probably knew this team was in the top 25, but number 22, Loyola of Illinois, got beaten OT by Drake 51-50. So their time in the top 25 was for a week. So that sucks because
was that Loyola Chicago? That's a school that had like a crazy ass run in March Madness.
I think it's the same. I'm not totally sure because it said Loyola of Illinois. So
yeah,
I think it might be.
The same school.
It's probably the same thing. Yeah.
They're tough. Yeah, they're tough.
I remember that tournament. That was crazy. March Madness. Yeah,
Man.
that was insane.
They went on a crazy ass run that year. They got to like the Sweet 16 or something, right?
They got Final Four.
Final Four.
Fuck.
Yeah, they went nuts.
Jeez.
Yeah. So they were in the top 25 this last week, but they'll probably drop out of it now. So that sucks. Because you don't see a lot of small schools like that in there.
Never.
Yeah.
My player of the week, not to be biased, was sophomore guard UCLA, Johnny Juzang. Johnny Juzang had 25 points and 7 rebounds against Washington State, and then followed that up with 32 points and 7 rebounds as well against Washington, averaging 28.5 points for the week and 7 boards. I just got to say, if we didn't have him, we'd be screwed. Saying UCLA would be screwed because they are playing like crap right now, and it's not fun to watch at all. So thank you, Johnny Juzang, for barely beating Washington.
And I have one more thing to throw in for college hoops.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Give a special shout out to episode 3's guest and great friend
Ajani.
Ajani Kennedy, who had a buzzer-beating game winner against Austin Peay University on Monday night, which was number 4 on ESPN Top 10 Plays Tuesday morning. So, good for him. Shout out to him. That was an awesome play.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm pretty sure the next game didn't go too well, but doesn't matter. My man was on Sports Center Top 10 Plays. That's what we will all remember.
For the Pokes, who, by the way, can't play in the NCAA tournament.
UT Martin down 2 to Austin Peay with 2 seconds to go. That's Ajani Kennedy. And that is your game winner at the buzzer. And then take the shirt off right out of the gym. Into the locker room, right? What a shot to...
Moving on to the NBA, let's just get right into some news, injuries, signings, trades, all all types of stuff was going on. Let's start with the injuries. Lauri Markkanen from the Chicago Bulls is going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. He's going to miss like 15 to 20 games with a sprained joint in his shoulder. I mean, the Bulls aren't really doing too hot right now anyways, so
that just hurt them a lot even more.
Yeah, that's another blow that they probably didn't need, but, you know, the Bulls are going to...
They don't have a lot of people playing lately, so...
they need to get Zach LaVine up out of there.
I say
we've said it, and we know it.
Every show.
We got 2 people that we harp on that need to get out of their cities.
And it's crazy because neither one of them are probably going to get traded this year.
Yeah, well, one of them doesn't want to even, so.
Yeah.
Weird ass shit. Another injury, Mitchell Robinson is going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He's going to miss like 20-something games with a broken hand.
That was a big deal, yeah.
They thought he just sprained his hand. They're like, oh, he's going to miss a couple games. Turns out he broke it pretty bad. He's going to have surgery. The Atlanta Hawks forward DeAndre Hunter will be missing 7 to 10 weeks because he's going to be having surgery on his right knee. That's just another blow for that Hawks team that is kind of struggling right now. They're having injury after injury, and it's just not going well right now. I mean,
they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're missing Bogdanovich, they're missing Hunter, and I'm pretty sure they're missing. I don't think Capella's playing right now. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But
he's having a good year too.
He's having pretty good.
He's really well, for sure.
Yeah, he's having a good year.
Moving on to some transactions. Noah Vonleh signed a minimum deal with the Brooklyn Nets. That gives them a little bit of depth at center.
They just keep picking up bench people, huh? Yeah.
Depth is something that the Brooklyn Nets don't really have a whole lot of right now because they pretty much sold the farm to Houston and gave up everybody just to get James Harden. That's not really going great right now. Last night I know they blew out the Warriors pretty bad, but I mean, whatever. Moving on to a trade. Derrick Rose is back with the New York Knicks. He was traded for Dennis Smith Jr. and a 2021 second-round pick from the Hornets. I don't really know what this means for the Knicks. To me, it doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Not a lot. He's still on the bench. He's still coming off the bench.
He's still coming off the bench for like Elfrid Payton, I think. Which whatever. But good for Derrick Rose. Because the Knicks they have a slight chance of making the playoffs this year. And I think it'll be good for him to mentor the young guys like Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley. I think that'll be a good look for them to get some mentorship from D Rose. And good for him to get the hell out of Detroit because, I mean, it's the Pistons. So, don't really want to talk too much about that. I have a couple headlines, though, from this past week. I'll start with a pretty interesting one. Minnesota Timberwolves guard Malik Beasley is sentenced to 120 days in jail after pleading guilty to a felony charge of threats for violence. If people don't know what happened, this was during the summer.
I remember that.
So he was at his house in Minnesota with his wife and whatever, right? And a car pulled up to the house. It was a family that was house hunting. They pulled up to the wrong house. And he came outside with an assault rifle and pointed it at their car, and it was a mom, dad, and their 13-year-old son. He pointed at their car. It was like, "Get the F out of here!" Yada yada. I was going bonkers on these people, and then they called the police, obviously, because it's Minnesota, so the cops are gonna be on.
Yeah.
So they came to the house. Apparently, they found a bunch of weed, other drugs there, a bunch of guns. For I don't know what the hell he's got going on. Maybe he's trying to join the military or something. But
he's crazier than I thought.
He was having a different type of summer to me. So
killing it on the court though.
Yeah, I mean he was having a decent year this year. But along with his 120-day sentence, which will be served after the season, by the way, for some reason, and he'll be allowed to be at home the whole time. So he's not really going to jail. He will also be on probation for 3 years with constant drug and alcohol tests. So no drugs or alcohol for 3 years. I mean, you're a professional athlete. Hopefully that's not an everyday thing for you anyways. But, people are going to do what they do. He's also going to be having to take an anger management course. And he has a lifetime ban on firearms. So he is never allowed to own a gun ever again for the rest of his life.
Damn.
Just because of a little plea deal he took. So apparently it was like you either go to jail for real or you do this.
I think everyone would do that.
I mean, I would have went that way too. Shit.
Yeah.
But But I mean, Malik Beasley, he's had some run-ins recently too with the whole Larsa Pippen situation and that whole. So that's a whole different. I don't even want to.
Yeah.
That's none of my business. Anyways, moving on. Last one, which I thought was pretty cool. Carmelo Anthony moved up to number 12 all time on the scoring list. He passed the Big O, Oscar Robertson, and he's got 100 or so points to pass Akeem Olajuwon to move to number 11, and about 500 or something points to pass Elvin Hayes at number 10 and be top 10 all time in scoring. I think he can do that this year, if not next year for sure. So good for Carmelo Anthony, and I don't know if you guys saw, but they were talking to him about this, and he said he has nothing left to prove for basketball, and I definitely agree. His accolades and everything and his play speaks for itself. Shout out to Carmelo Anthony. He's having a hell of a year again, stepping up big for the Trailblazers. They're having a lot of injuries right now.
Trailblazers an interesting team. Like they're
very interesting.
They can't get over the hump. Like they're just missing that one piece every year.
They always seem like they add a lot of people and try and make a
and they hit a
good team.
Ball. Yeah,
significant upgrades, and then they always lose some people, and they're screwed.
Speaking of losing people, I know CJ McCollum is actually out right now too. He's hurt.
Yes, CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic are both out. Yeah. So Enes Kanter is their main center the whole time.
So shout out to also Gary Trent. I know Gary Trent's having a decent year. He's stepping up big for the Trailblazers, but in the West, it's going to be tough if your guards, if your second option is Gary Trent. No disrespect to him by any means, but you're not going to win a whole lot of basketball games in the West with a team like that. So moving on to my players of the week for the NBA, I'm going to start with a guy who had a fairly good week, Jonas Valanciunas. I don't really talk about the Memphis Grizzlies a lot. I don't really talk about Valanciunas a lot at all, ever. I don't think I ever have.
I like him.
But he had a pretty interesting week. His first game, they played his former team, the Toronto Raptors. He had 27 points and 20 rebounds. But they lost. But that's a hell of a stat line. 27 and 20 for
absolutely.
Hey, that's cool.
That's his first game back from being out from COVID, I think, for 2 weeks.
Yeah, he was gone for a minute. He missed
he was gone for a while.
Games, yeah.
I think people underestimate how good NBA players are.
That's what I'm saying.
I saw even maybe the most scrub looking dude on the NBA roster will probably give you 50. So many.
I'll give you straight buckets.
I saw this headline the other day about Pat Bev. Pat Bev averages under double digits in the NBA, I think, right now, but in high school average 40.
Average 40.
That's low-key sick.
That is crazy.
That's sick.
Hey, it's crazy because he's not from somewhere some little he's from Chicago.
He's from where the real Hoopers is at for real.
He's from where all the real Hoopers are at. So moving on with Valanciunas, he had the next game he had 12 and 5. He didn't really play a whole lot. Against the Lakers, he had 22, 8 and 5. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but it looked like he had something to prove against Marc Gasol a little bit. They did get traded for each other. When the Raptors.
It definitely looked like there's a little something else with that.
Yeah, and good for him. Good for the Memphis Grizzlies. They have a good big man once again. So hopefully that helps them out a little bit. Another guy I want to shout out, Devin Booker. Devin Booker, killer like always. This past week, 36, 5 and 8 against the Cavs, 36 and 3 versus the Bucks, 36, 5 and 4 versus the 76ers.
Yeah, he just has consistent great games.
He's just nasty. Just nasty. There's you could go on for hours about Devin Booker, but I'll just say he's a killer.
He's the real deal. He's
straight buckets.
Absolutely.
Last guy who's my player of the week. That he lost a couple games this week, but I got to say Steph Curry, man. Steph Curry is on another level right now.
Back to where he used to be.
The amount of buckets Steph Curry has been getting this year is insane. He's been in the talks for MVP now. If he keeps playing this way, I don't see why not. He would be in the conversation. But he had a game against Dallas, which they lost. He had 57, 2 and 5. And then they lost the next game to the Spurs. He had 32, 7 and 6. Then he had 32, 4 and 2 against the Spurs, and they won. And against Orlando, they won again. He had 40, 8 and 5. Last night, we all know they got blown out. He had 27, 3 and 5. I mean, Steph Curry right now, if you're watching him play and you're not looking at the rest of his team, there's an argument that he's the best player in the league right now. and he's having a hell of a year. The Warriors are doing all right. They're kind of in that.
They're staying like above barely, barely above the line.
I think they'll be one of the teams that plays in the little playoff play-in where they play. I have a little like round robin tournament.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, so maybe they'll be able to sneak in there as like an 8 seed, 7 seed. If they do, great. I don't really think they're going to get too far in the playoffs. If they don't, hey, you're going to get another nice draft pick this year, and good for you guys. My rookie of the week. This man has been struggling for the past couple weeks. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time. There were some things going on with the coach, and his dad has something to say about the coach. I'm sure we all know who I'm talking about once we start talking about somebody's dad. Chino Hill's finest, LaMelo Ball, has been inserted into the starting lineup for the Charlotte
Hornets. Going crazy.
And has been playing his ass off. On the season, he's averaging 14, 6, and 6. He has the Hornets as the 6th seed right now in the East, which is...
He makes the Hornets just really fun to watch. Like, I tune in and watch them mainly to watch him and Terry Rozier, like, play together. It's crazy. They're really good.
And,
him and Miles Bridges are a problem.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He has them in the playoff race right now. But I will say I'll put an asterisk next to that because being in the playoff race and being in the playoffs is two completely different things. So, I mean, if they make the playoffs, they're going to end up playing against, like, the Celtics, the Heat. Or, I mean, not the Heat, sorry. The Heat are struggling.
The Bucks.
The Bucks, the Celtics, or the 76ers. And
76ers, yeah.
That's not going to go too far. But this week he had 19-7-5 against the Wizards, and they won. 24-7-10 versus the Rockets, and they won again. 17-5-3 in a loss to the Grizzlies, and then I believe Friday night he had 20-11-4 in a win against the Timberwolves. If he plays like this the rest of the year, which I mean he's been starting and he's been pretty consistent, obviously, easy choice for rookie of the year. I don't really see any other rookies coming close right now because Wiseman is in and out of the rotation. He's hurt. He's this. He's that.
Yep.
Nobody else has been really stepping up like that. So shout out to LaMelo Ball. Thank you for proving us right from our first episode, saying that you're going to be a rookie of the year. You're playing your ass off. A team to watch. I only have one team. Usually I have like 2 or 3. Only one team right now has just been consistently like pretty nasty. Utah Jazz.
Utah Jazz again are getting highlighted. They just don't stop winning.
This is I think what?
I think that's the second or third time you've said it. Yeah.
They have the best record in the L right now, 22-5.
They just keep rolling.
They just keep winning.
Without Mike Conley for this last week too, they still won.
Yeah,
I want to see if they're the real deal. Like come playoff time, end of the year, like a lot of teams, Bucks in particular, have these crazy regular seasons. Always lose. Figure out a way.
Talk about that all the time.
Oh yeah.
The real deal.
So in the Jazz last 10 games, they're 9-1. The last time they lost a game was, I believe, it was January 30th or January 31st. So they've won every game in February. They've won 7 games in a row leading up to today. They are led by Donovan Mitchell, who's averaging 24, 4, and 5. He's taking everybody's disrespect and everybody's comments and shoving it right back in everybody's face. Good for him. He's playing his ass off. Jordan Clarkson is another guy that is
really stepped up this year.
When we had talked in the very first episode, I didn't know who to choose for 6th man of the year. Jordan Clarkson right now is an obvious choice. He's averaging 17 off the bench. He's their second leading scorer. He just goes in and gets you buckets.
Absolutely.
What more can you ask from a guy like that? And Mike Conley, Tyler, you had mentioned, he's averaging 16 and 6 right now, and I believe like 3 or 4 rebounds. Everybody knows how Mike Conley is. He goes in and gets the job done. Hard-working player. Rudy Gobert.
Don't say it.
Rudy Gobert.
That's the one problem you can't rely on in the playoffs because he's going to go up against big men that are just not like.
Look, if you're just looking at numbers, you'd be like, damn, Rudy Gobert is the best center in the NBA, or he's top 2, top 3, right? But you watch this guy play, and it's like, Jesus Christ, like, are you serious? Like. Right now, he's averaging 14 points, 13 rebounds, and like 3 blocks, which is like, you look at that and you're like, God damn, right? And then you watch him play and you're just like,
It just doesn't seem
Fuck,
seeing the
bro,
stats.
it's so boring. Like,
Yeah, he's
and one thing that we had talked about with Ajani and with Xavier also, and Dom, I don't know if you want to touch on this too. Can you throw the ball to Rudy Gobert in a late game situation, and can he get you a bucket in the post?
No.
I don't think anyone's gonna say that.
Follow up
don't.
question. Follow up question. Is he worth $200 million?
No.
Thank you.
No.
I mean, and I've clarified a couple times because a lot of people don't understand like what goes into the max contract policy and how you get those kind of things. If you look at just accolades and whatnot, he meets the requirements to get a max contract or super max, whatever the hell he got.
Technically, yes.
Because he's been first team All NBA. He's been Defensive Player of the Year. He's made an All-Star team. He takes the team to the playoffs. Congratulations. I don't, and I'm not knocking him getting $200 million at all because everybody deserves it. If somebody's offering you that much money, you better take it. $200 million is a lot of money, and Rudy Gobert is a very interesting person to give it to. But with that being said, Dom, you had said it too. Let's see if the Utah Jazz are really built like this. Because regular season is cool. We've seen it from the Bucks. I don't know what 2-3 years in a row now. They'll have
pretty much every year since Giannis has been here. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do what they got to do in the regular season. They have the best record. They get to the playoffs. They cruise the first round, the second round kind of struggle. Sometimes don't even get to the conference finals, and definitely haven't touched the finals. I just want to kind of shout them out for right now for the regular season performance, but I'm not going to say they're winning a championship anytime soon, really. But good for them, playing really well. Let's just see if they keep it up the rest of the year. Hopefully they do. That'd be cool to see the Utah Jazz be fairly good again. So good for them. So to wrap up, we got some quick questions for you, Dom. Some fun questions. This one is a 2-part question. So the first part is your basketball Mount Rushmore. What are 5 guys that you look at and you say this is basketball? Like these are the 5 guys that are the best ever. They influence the game, whatever.
Does it have to be like by position, like one per position, like that?
No. So, but I will say this for the sake of not sitting here and arguing for hours, they don't have to be in order. Okay. It's just 5 guys.
I'm gonna go Kobe, Mike, Braun, Shaq, and Kareem.
Yep. Okay. There we go. See, Kareem is, I think that's the first time besides Tyler. It's the first time somebody has said Kareem. Everybody else has said.
All right, me and Dom are on the same page. There we go. I got someone.
Everybody else has said either AI or Steph Curry, and either way, you can't go wrong with those answers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about influencing, sure, AI and Steph Curry.
Definitely
for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
The second part of that question: what are 5 guys? You don't have to include yourself. That you would take to any court in the world and you're not losing. That they could be people that people that are just straight dogs, or you could take NBA legends, you could take your homies, whoever.
Oh, that's a good question. That's tough. I'm taking AI. I'm taking Mike. I'm taking myself, obviously.
There you go.
So that's 3. I'm taking Shaq just because he's bigger than everybody, and I'm just going to give him the ball every time. And then I need like a defender, like a straight defender. This is tough.
Bigger at guard.
Yeah, probably a guard. Probably Steph. I'll take
Steph. Okay.
He said defender.
Yeah, I was thinking of defender, and then I was like, nah, because people at like when you go to like runs, people don't really play defense like
Yeah,
that.
that's facts, bro. It's all offense.
It's
Everyone's
like-
just
everybody
back and
just
forth
shoots.
down the
So,
court.
like,
all
if
the
we
time.
get, as long as we got Shaq protecting the paint, we should be good.
Solid. Hell yeah. So, well, how about some predictions? Who do you have coming out of the East? Who do you have coming out of the West? And who's going to win that finals matchup?
Out the West, I got the Lakers, of course.
Duh.
This
This is not a Lakers podcast.
Simple, but we're not biased.
East.
East is tough.
Yeah, there's a couple like teams like they're just like
There's at least
like,
4
they're,
teams.
They're just so up and down, up and down, up and down. So I couldn't really say. I would probably say it's up between the Celtics and the Bucks and the Nets. Those 3, but I probably put it on the Nets just because, of course, they got Harden and KD and Kyrie, and then I got. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going. Go ahead.
And then so that's what I got in the finals. I got the Nets and the Lakers in the finals. But win the matchup, of course, I got the Lakers just because we got a little bit more depth. But the one thing I am kind of concerned about is Marc Gasol's durability. Marc Gasol's like. He moves a little bit too like slow for me, and that's one thing. Like we could talk mess about like JaVale and like all these other players, but like JaVale got the job done defensively.
No, yeah, him and Dwight were just pretty great last year.
Big. Like he was just big. Like okay, he might be goofy, he might fall down, do some weird stuff, but he was just big, like protecting the rim for us.
Yeah.
So that's just the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. But I think Montrez is a great.
I was gonna say I think Trez will step it up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I got Lakers over the Nets.
Let me ask you this though: you're not gonna rock with the 76ers even a little?
Nah. although I do like Joel's been on another level.
Yes, he has.
He's been cooking. Like I haven't seen it enough in the playoffs. That's why I say I got like a couple, like probably like 4 teams. The Sixers will be in there too. The 4 teams. But I don't really know. They're too up and down to really figure it out. So that's why I feel like the safest bet would probably be the Nets because Kyrie will win. KD could win. Harden kind of win. Haven't figured it out yet, but he's just gonna pass it to those guys to figure it out. So
also, little kind of off to the side question. Anybody else see that Ben Simmons said that he's the best defender in the NBA?
I did not see that.
But apparently, like 2 nights ago, he said he's the best defender in the NBA because he goes out.
That's funny. That's really funny.
He said he guards the best player on every team every night.
Yeah, he does. But De'Aaron Fox absolutely shook him last week. Like I don't know if you saw that, but
I saw that.
It was nasty.
And also Devin Booker gave him 36 last night, so I don't really know where he's getting all this nonsense from.
Something I have to say about the Nets. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Something I have to say about the Nets that could make it actually really interesting is how Jared Allen went to the Cavs in the Nets trade. They're potentially thinking about getting Andre Drummond back over the Nets. So that would be really interesting. And I don't know how that would go for
how much
if they do get to the
finals. Do they have?
I don't know.
What the fuck, bro?
I don't know, but apparently they're really interested right now and everything.
Bro, I had seen that also. I saw they're trying to get Kevin Love. I'm like, how much money do you have? Like you got
for
Kyrie,
real.
James Harden, KD. What the fuck?
You have 3 of the best players in the league on the team.
Man,
that's wild.
Jeez.
Sean Marks is real different if he gets one of those.
Yeah, it really is.
And last, I got a couple more questions. Are you binge watching anything? Is there anything that you want to put people on that you're watching, or do you have time to watch anything?
Yeah, I find time to wind down and watch some things every now and again. Not really like binge watching just because like I get home kind of late with homework and stuff, so I maybe watch a couple episodes of here and there. But let me think of the show. I'm about to look it up.
And then
go ahead.
While you're thinking about that, also think about if there's any music that you've been listening to that you want to shout out or let people know what's in your ears nowadays.
I got you. Well, definitely a good little Netflix. Y'all probably know, waiting for season 3 to drop a You.
November.
Yep. So You is definitely up there.
A lot of people like that show. Yeah.
And then I also got, what is it called? I can't think of the name off my head. Let me try to find it. I'm not really like a big anime guy, but everybody been talking about Attack on Titan. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah,
that.
all my
But
friends talk about that. Yeah.
I just started Attack on Titan. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm not a big anime person.
I'm not a
but
huge
this is
anime fan either. Yeah.
But I'm definitely tapped into that. And that was pretty all I'm watching right now. I don't really watch too much TV like that, mainly just sports and stuff like that. But when I do have some time, those are kind of my go-to shows right now. And then in terms of music, I'm always listening to some J. Cole. J. Cole's my number one artist. If you know me, you know I rock with J. Cole heavy. Definitely Lil Durk. Lil Durk's been on another level right now.
Love Lil Durk.
No, who else? Let me see. Mozzie, of course. I listen to a lot of Mozzie like before games and stuff. He just
Get you in that mode.
Yeah, him and him and Nipsey for real, like just get me like not even like hyped up, but just more so just like focused,
Locked
like
in.
just really, locked in. I listen to Future, and then I don't know if you guys listen to this guy. His name's Tusi. Tusi goes crazy.
Yeah, Tusi's good.
Crazy. I've been a big
Truth be
Tusi guy
told,
lately.
I love that song.
Yeah, that's my guy. And then probably the last one would be YFN Lucci. I listen to a lot of YFN Lucci too.
He just had a song come out. I just listened to it yesterday. It's really good too.
Yeah. So like I try to expand kind of my music and things like that. So that's pretty much all I do. And then I'm a big reader too. Like if y'all don't read, I definitely guarantee picking up some books.
Facts.
Definitely read.
What are you?
Reading's fun.
Follow-up question. What are you reading nowadays then? Since
I'll get it right on it's right in my gym bag right here. I read it on the road.
Keep it on you.
On me right here. Relentless. Free flow.
Relentless by
It's a basketball. It's like a basketball type of book, but definitely just talks about kind of how do you continue to be great over time, get better. Have some things about Kobe in there. Just how to get from good to great to really unstoppable, and like the mindset it takes from each level. So it's really a good book. I definitely recommend you guys tuning into that one.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
So last thing before we let you go, is there anything or anybody you want to shout out or plug, or anybody you want to give a special thanks to right now?
Just a big shout out to my teammates, both present, past, maybe future, like just all my teammate support cast. Big shout out to my trainer Drew and Dale. Really stuck with me since high school. Like for those of you that don't know, I used to be dumb chubby, like stupid chubby. And I know that was one big thing that really instilled in me. It really helped me elevate my game was just the buy-in from those guys, and then the buy-in from the athletics staff here at UCR, just to really help me transform my body and get me to where I'm at. So definitely shout out to those guys. And it's everybody that supported me. Shout out to you guys for having me on here. And everybody that's just been rocking with me from day one. Like it's nothing but love.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So that'll wrap up. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of All in the Mix with me, my guy Tyler, like always, and our special guest Dom Pickett of UC Riverside. Next week's episode, we will feature yet another artist, this time from the LA area. He's the son of an NBA vet and a great friend of mine, Nick Polanese, aka 90 Take Me Home. That episode will be coming out February 24th, the week after this one, which will be dropping February 17th. So thank you guys and stay tuned.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I said don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know I'm all in the mix, all in the mix. Talk to me nice, all in